6 Daily Habits of Seniors with Spotless Homes, Effortless Cleanliness, Senior Wisdom, Old Age. When you step into her home, something unusual happens. The world goes quiet. You hear the faint tick of an old clock. A breeze slips gently through the lace curtains. There's no clutter. No chaos. Just a strange and beautiful sense of peace. This is the home of 82-year-old Mrs. Eleanor Shaw. A widow, a grandmother, a retired schoolteacher. And a woman who lives with a kind of order that feels almost sacred. Every surface in her home tells a story. Every drawer has purpose. And if you ask her why her home is always so spotless, she'll smile gently and say, "Because when my home is in order, my heart is at peace." You see, after 60, something subtle but profound begins to happen. We start to crave simplicity, not just in our homes, but in our minds. We don't want more. We want less, but better, less noise. Less mess. Less of everything that feels like a weight, and more of what truly matters: clarity, dignity, and calm. A clean home after 60 is not about impressing visitors, it's not about perfection, it's not even about hygiene, although that matters too. It's about reclaiming control in a world that slowly takes it away. When the body weakens, when the calendar fills with doctor's visits, when the days get quieter. The home becomes a reflection of the soul, and for seniors with spotless homes, that reflection speaks volumes, because a clean home whispers, "I am still here." It says, "I still care." It shouts, "I may be aging, but I have not given up." There's a silent language to a clean home in old age. It's a form of self-respect, a gift to those who will one day sort through your things, and most of all, it's a space where the mind can finally breathe. So before we dive into the specific habits, the 6 daily things seniors do to keep their homes effortlessly clean, we must begin with this truth: cleanliness, in old age, is not a chore, it is an act of quiet rebellion. It is grace made visible, it is the architecture of peace. Before the world awakens, they're already in motion, not rushed. Not noisy. Just purposeful. In a quiet kitchen, 74-year-old Mr. Yamada folds his dish towel for the 3rd time. It's not wrinkled. It doesn't need folding. But for him, that small act is part of something larger, a daily ritual of restoration. Every morning, without fail, he performs what he calls his reset. He opens the windows, lets in fresh air, he smooths out the bed with precision, he makes tea, wipes the table, and checks that everything is just right. No grand gestures, no deep cleaning, just gentle movements that return the home to neutral. Why? Because Mr. Yamada understands something modern life has forgotten. If your first act of the day is to bring order, he says, then you've already won, before the day even begins. This, my friend, is the morning reset ritual. It's the first daily habit shared by seniors who live in spotless homes, not out of effort, but through rhythm. They don't force cleanliness. They flow with it, because to them, the morning isn't just a time of day, it's a sacred opportunity to set the tone, to align the external space with the internal state. Let's pause here for a moment. Have you noticed how a cluttered kitchen can make your mind feel foggy, or how an unmade bed can somehow pull down your mood? It's not imagination. It's the deep, often unspoken truth. The state of your surroundings mirrors the state of your spirit. That's why seniors with spotless homes never begin their day in chaos, they begin with clarity. This habit may take just 15 minutes, but it's not about time, it's about intention. It's wiping the bathroom sink not because it's dirty, but because it's yours. It's aligning the chair just right, not because someone is coming over, but because you live here, and you matter, and the effects are far more powerful than we realize. Doctors have found that seniors who begin their day with physical movement, even light ones like bed making or sweeping, show improved circulation, sharper mental focus, decreased symptoms of depression, and most importantly, a deeper sense of control, because let's face it, after 60, much of life feels like it's slipping beyond our grasp. Health changes. People pass. Time accelerates, but the morning ritual, that's yours. Every day, like a gentle reminder, you are still the keeper of this space. You still choose how your day begins. And in a world that often forgets the elderly, that kind of empowerment is golden. So tomorrow morning, before the coffee, before the phone, ask yourself, what one small act could I do to bring peace into my space, before the world has the chance to bring in noise? Because that's how it starts, that's how the spotless home is born, not with bleach or vacuum cleaners, but with a silent morning, and a single, sacred intention. Next, we'll uncover a curious little rule that seniors with tidy homes live by. It has nothing to do with scrubbing, and everything to do with touch. It's called the one-touch rule, and once you learn it, you'll never see clutter the same way again. It's not the big messes that overwhelm us, it's the little things left undone. A sock on the stair, a pair of glasses on the kitchen counter, a receipt left on the table for weeks. No one intends for their home to become a mess. Clutter doesn't arrive like a storm, it creeps in. In whispers, in tiny, innocent decisions that slowly pile up into stress, and that's where one of the most powerful habits of seniors with spotless homes comes in. They live by a rule so simple, and yet so effective, it quietly defeats clutter before it ever has a chance to grow. They call it, backhand index pointing right, the one-touch rule. What does it mean? If you touch something, you finish the action, you don't put it down. You put it away, one touch, and done. Let me tell you a story. At 85, Madame Elise lives alone in a small stone house in the French countryside. She doesn't own a dishwasher, she doesn't use a smartphone, but if you step into her kitchen, you'll swear it was cleaned by angels. Her secret: if I pour the tea, she says, I wipe the counter. If I open the drawer, I close it. If I take the letter out, I file it. I never let an action dangle. Life is too short for unfinished movements. That is the one-touch mindset. It's not just about reducing mess, it's about honoring momentum. Because here's the truth most people forget, clutter is just delayed decisions. And those delays weigh heavier with time, especially after 60. You see, as we age, our energy becomes precious, our joints don't bend like they used to, our memory sometimes slips, and our patience, well, it depends on the day. So every time we walk past that same book on the floor, every time we ignore that pile of mail, our body sighs a little, our mind gets a bit foggier, and slowly, the home we once controlled begins to control us. But here's the beauty of the one-touch rule: it's not about doing more, it's about doing things when they're smallest and simplest. It's hanging the coat now, not later. It's tossing the junk mail now, not tomorrow. It's deciding that every movement will finish what it starts, and the results: a home that stays clean without deep cleaning, less mental fatigue, more physical flow, a growing sense of pride and power, because with each completed motion, you're telling the universe, I may be aging, but I still move with purpose. I may be slower, but I waste nothing, not even movement. One-touch living is not perfection, it's presence. It's realizing that every choice, every little object we interact with, carries a simple question: will I leave this here for my future self to handle, or will I give that future self a gift, by finishing it now? Because in the end, seniors with spotless homes don't clean more, they postpone less. So the next time you pick something up, ask yourself, can I finish this in one touch? Because that moment, that choice, might be the difference between a home full of calm and a life full of clutter. Sometimes, it's not what we clean, it's what we finally let go. There was a man named Samuel, 76 years old, widowed, living in a quiet house that once echoed with laughter, children's footsteps, and the smell of Sunday pot roast. After his wife passed, the home became heavy, not loud, but weighty. Every shelf whispered her name, every drawer held a memory, and slowly, Samuel found himself trapped, not in grief, but in stuff: old clothes, untouched, piles of newspapers he might read, boxes of kitchen gadgets, their purpose long forgotten. One day, standing in the hallway, he said aloud, this house is full, but I feel empty. That was the beginning. He started with one drawer. Not to clean, to release, he held each item with reverence. And then asked, does this object still serve my life, or am I serving it? If the item didn't bring clarity, joy, or purpose, he let it go. It wasn't fast, it wasn't easy, but it was healing, because here's the truth no one tells us: decluttering isn't about removing things, it's about making space for who you've become. Seniors with effortlessly clean homes, they don't just have less mess, they have less attachment. They've learned the ancient wisdom found in Zen teachings, Buddhist temples, and the quiet lives of monks. The more you own, the more you carry. The more you release, the lighter your spirit becomes. This is not just about tidiness, this is about liberation. You see, every object in your home has a weight, not just physical, but emotional, and as we age, carrying too many of those invisible burdens can suffocate our joy. But seniors who embrace Zen decluttering, they create homes that breathe, rooms that echo peace, closets that hold only what is useful, beautiful, or meaningful. Here's the quiet revolution they follow: if it's broken, release it; if it no longer fits, thank it, then let it go. If it reminds you of pain, you are not obligated to keep it. If it hasn't been used in a year, your life has already moved past it. They don't throw away carelessly, they part with grace. They don't live like minimalists to be trendy. They do it to feel free, because at some point in life, especially after 60, you begin to realize, peace is not in the accumulation, it's in the space between. Samuel now wakes up to sunlight pouring into rooms that once felt cluttered with sorrow. He walks freely, breathes deeper, smiles more often. Why? Because he no longer lives in a house of memories, he lives in a sanctuary of presence. And you can, too. You don't need to empty your home overnight. You just need to ask, what am I ready to let go of, so I can hold on to peace? The way you end your day becomes the way you begin your next. There is a secret ritual, practiced by the most peaceful seniors, a ritual that isn't taught in cleaning manuals or shown in commercials, but you'll find it, quietly, in the world's most serene homes. It happens in the final 15 minutes before sleep. No fanfare, no pressure, just a soft dance of closure. They call it evening closure, not chores, not cleanup, closure. You see, messy homes are not created in the chaos of morning, but in the silence of night. When we choose collapse over care, after 60, we no longer live in a rush, we live in rhythms, and evening closure is the rhythm that honors completion. How you say goodnight to your home is how your mind says goodnight to the world. Let me tell you about Irene. She's 81, lives in a modest apartment with lace curtains, soft cushions, and the smell of lavender always floating through the air. Every night, like clockwork, Irene does 3 simple things before bed. She resets her space, she folds the blanket on the couch, she wipes down the kitchen counter, she straightens the rug, not because it's messy, but because it deserves peace. She dims the lights, not all at once. One by one, as if she's tucking her home in for sleep, she breathes, slowly, and says aloud, "This home served me well today, it was safe. It was warm, I'm grateful. And tomorrow, we begin again." That is evening closure. It's not about perfection, it's about presence, because when you treat your home like something alive, it responds. The next morning, Irene wakes to a calm kitchen, a clean table, a home already smiling, as if it had been waiting to greet her. No panic, no shame, just flow. You see, most people clean reactively, but the wise, they reset preventatively. They know that in aging, energy is a sacred currency, and starting clean is far easier than catching up later. Evening closure tells your spirit, you are still in control. The day may end, but you end it, not the mess. It becomes a spiritual act, a cleansing of not just your countertops, but your mind, because every dish washed, every light turned off with care, whispers to your soul, I'm not rushing through life, I'm honoring it, moment by moment. So tonight, before you collapse into bed, try this: wipe down the sink, fold the throw blanket, tuck your home in gently, and whisper your gratitude for another day lived. because a clean home in the morning begins the night before, and seniors who live with peace don't wait for life to bring them calm, they create it, one small ritual at a time. Big changes don't require big actions, just tiny moments. Repeated with care. Imagine this: a woman named Teresa, 82 years old, living alone in a small cottage at the edge of town. Visitors always comment on how fresh her home feels. How do you keep everything so clean? They ask. Teresa just smiles. She doesn't clean for hours. She doesn't scrub for days. She doesn't even own a full-sized mop anymore. Instead, she has a secret system. It's called the microzone method. It sounds complex, but it's the simplest thing in the world, and seniors who use it, they almost never need to deep clean again. Here's how it works. Every day, Teresa chooses just one tiny zone in her home. Not a room, not a corner, a zone, like just the kitchen sink, just the nightstand, just the windowsill in the bathroom, just the doorknob and frame, and she gives that one zone her full, unhurried attention. 5 minutes, no distractions, no rushing, just love, poured into one tiny space. I treat that small space, she says, as if it's the most important part of my home, because for 5 minutes, it is. Over time, this method does something extraordinary. While others spend weekends scrubbing, her home stays effortlessly maintained, because consistency beats intensity. Every time, the microzone method is more than a cleaning trick, it's a way of living. It rewires your brain. Instead of seeing your home as a giant battlefield of chores, you see it as a peaceful garden, tended gently, one flower at a time. And in this garden, you don't panic, you don't postpone, you simply move with grace. Today I clean the light switch. Tomorrow I bless the hallway mirror. Next week, the bookshelf. Here's why it works especially well for seniors: it protects your energy. No burnout, it boosts your confidence. Each task is a small victory. It trains your eyes to notice beauty, not flaws, because every day, you're not battling mess, you're curating peace. The microzone method becomes a quiet act of mindfulness, a spiritual discipline disguised as a cleaning habit, and best of all, it transforms you from a cleaner into a caretaker of your sacred space. Try it tonight. Pick one microzone, one drawer, one handle, one little shelf, and give it your full heart. For 5 minutes, wipe it, arrange it, thank it, then stop. You're done, because that's not just cleaning, that's ritual, and a life of daily rituals is a life of effortless clarity. What you surround yourself with becomes a reflection of who you are. There comes a time in the lives of every senior when they begin to realize something profound, something that, at first, feels almost too simple to understand, that the way you keep your home is a mirror of how you feel inside. For years, we live in a constant state of giving, to family, to work, to life. But as we age, something beautiful happens. We start to shift the focus, not from others, but from within, and cleanliness, it becomes more than a chore, it becomes an expression of self-respect, a sign that we are ready to receive the peace we've earned. Meet Eleanor, 84 years old, a woman who's lived through decades of change, hardship, and joy, but the one thing that has always remained constant in her life is her home. It's not large, it's not extravagant, but it's clean, and it feels like her. Every evening, after her nightly routine, Eleanor sits in her favorite chair by the window. She looks around at the bookshelves, the plants, the cushions, and the walls. This is my space, it reflects me, my love, my peace, my journey. And that's the secret, isn't it? When you clean with intention, when you cultivate your space with love, it is no longer just a house, it becomes your sacred sanctuary. Cleanliness, in its most powerful form, is a reflection of your inner self, reminder that you are worthy of serenity, that you deserve comfort and order, and when you take the time to care for your home, you are ultimately caring for yourself. Because the truth is, a clean home is not just about the absence of dirt, it's about the presence of peace, a place where your mind can relax, where your body can rest, where you can breathe deeply and feel at home in your own life. When you wake up in the morning, and you step into a home that's been tended with care, it's like stepping into a reflection of your own soul, a soul that is worthy of love, of peace, and of effortless grace. A home that reflects the soul, that helps the soul feel whole. So, as we conclude this journey, remember this: a clean home is not just about cleanliness, it is a deep, sacred act of honoring yourself. The effort you put into maintaining your space is the same effort you put into maintaining your inner peace. Every room you tidy, every object you release, is a step closer to living a life that reflects the true essence of who you are. Before we end today's journey, I want to hear from you. What was the most powerful insight you took away from this series? How does your home reflect who you are? And what steps are you going to take to make it more of a sanctuary? Don't forget to hit that like button if you found this journey meaningful. Subscribe to the channel for more wisdom on how to live a deeper, more peaceful life after 60, and most importantly, share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, remember, the cleanliness of your home isn't just about how it looks. It's about how it makes you feel. Wishing you peace, clarity, and a home that mirrors your soul.